Hi guys, so today Matt and I have the privilege of sitting with both Glenda and Randall Brown. You'll see on Matt's video interview on Thursday. Glenda, you're our boss, but I'm wondering if you could just quickly tell the youth leaders what it is that your role is here at Territorial Headquarters.
We're the mission directors for the Territory, which means that we resource and into the divisions and to the core to help core to be healthy and multiplying and see disciples made.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, we've enjoyed having you here this year, and I think our leaders have got a lot to learn from your leadership style. So we've just got a couple of questions to ask of you today. And the first is, how do you encourage creative thinking within your team?
Well, firstly, I think casting vision. I think getting people thinking in the same direction and having everyone working together creates creativity. And so the second thing is just getting people together. I think getting people into a room where they're engaging with each other and walking in the same direction, aiming for the same thing, creative stuff happens.
Great.
So that's what we're trying to achieve. And we're seeing it.
So you've been in leadership a little while now. I'm sure you've had some tough calls to make and some unpopular decisions to make. Do you have some kind of process for making tough decisions as a leader?
This is a really good question, and it's a hard question for me because I really like to be liked and I like people to like me, and so making tough decisions is tough. And as a leader, I think it's just something that comes with the job. So my process is firstly to constantly be in God's Word, because that's where my identity has to lie. Because I think if it lies in being liked by others, then tough decisions become even tougher. So just working constantly, just hearing what God has to say to me and getting my identity to Him. And secondly, constantly being in prayer with Him, because then I know His Word and I can hear His voice. So sometimes when the tough decisions have to be made, you just have to get in and do it. That's my third process, because I'm really good at putting off tough decisions and they never get easier. So if you have a tough decision to make, just get in and do it. And my last part of the process is that I get good people around me. So I get good advice, I make sure I have good positive people, probably better people than me, feeding into my life, and so I have good advice from them. So that tough decisions become, I know that they're not just my thinking. Yeah.
That's great. One more question. What are some of the most common characteristics that are features of a church that values young people?
Wow, that's exciting, isn't it? Young people, young people and children. Seriously, I really know and believe that God doesn't have grandkids. So He only has children. So therefore, if you're 90 or you're a week old, you're part of God's kingdom. So therefore, the church has, whether you're 90 or you're 2, then you're His church. And so when I see a church that values young people in this, I see young people who are being trained in every form of ministry. That, children have gifts too. And I see children with teaching gifts and prophecy gifts. I see children being able to lead others to Jesus, evangelists. They're the best evangelists, actually. I see children being able to disciple others. And so the features of a church that values young people is a church where you're investing into this. And I have to tell you, where you see this happening, it's a fairly messy church. Because kids don't do this in a very, they don't do it proper. They do it loud, and they minister in their own way. And so I think a church that is functioning in church with children is usually a bit messy and it's loud, but it's really fun to be at. And that's the features of a church like that. Yeah.
I think that's good news for those of us that have messy churches. It's a bit of a comfort to know that that can be a real strength. So thank you for taking the time to answer our questions, and hopefully we'll hear from you again in the future too.
Hope so.
Thanks, Glenda.